Sunnahfollowers, protectors of the Sunnah. Sunnahfollowers, protectors of the Sunnah.
Alhamdulillah, wa salam Allah wa Rasulullah. Welcome to another session of our Sunnahfollowers Ramadan Prep series. You know, this is the series that we teach to help you to prepare for Ramadan. And how do we prepare for Ramadan? Who can answer that question? How do we prepare for Ramadan? Is it by fasting, by doing extra prayers? How do we prepare for Ramadan? Anyone? Anyone? You guys don't know how to prepare?
One of the ways of preparing for Ramadan is preparing our mindset for Ramadan. Make sure the home is prepped for Ramadan, the environment, and the likes.
Exactly. How do we prepare for Ramadan? It's not by fasting. In fact, no one should be doing any fasting right now unless you are making up your days from last Ramadan. Because if you're fasting, you're going to be so burnt out that when Ramadan begins, you're not going to want to fast. Okay, so you shouldn't be doing any fasting, but instead you prepare your mindset, like he said, in your heart. You know, we should be purifying our hearts of those poisons that can destroy it, such as ignorance and hypocrisy and doubt. And we should also be purifying our heart from those emotions that can destroy it. And then also, as we've been discussing, the way to prepare for Ramadan is by preparing the home. We reestablished who the head of the household is. Who is the head of the household? If you are a married couple and you have a family, who is the head of the household? Anyone?
The husband.
Exactly. The husband is the head of the household, or the male. If you are living at home with your parents, your father is the head of the household. And I want you guys to remember that, because at the end of Ramadan, we're going to talk about the Eid al-Fitr. And we're going to talk about the Zakat al-Fitr. Okay, the Zakat al-Fitr is paid by the head of the household. Okay, that's who's responsible for paying it. So again, the head of the household is the Muslim man. Okay, and so we should be preparing our homes, trying to make them a faith-filled environment. And we talked about things we can do to make our homes a faith-filled environment. What are some of the things we discussed so far? Anyone?
Getting like a library or something together with books.
Yes, establish a Muslim library. You know, you should have hadith books, Sahih Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, books of Aqidah, books of fiqh in your library. What else? What are some more things we can do to make our home an Islamic environment?
Inviting righteous people, knowledgeable people, maybe just for dinner, give us talks within the family.
Exactly. And this is something you guys want to really do during Ramadan, when it does begin too. Invite righteous people of knowledge over to your home for dinner, so they can give you little small talks. You know, maybe you having a problem with your children praying. So invite the imam over for dinner to break fast with you, or to have dinner, to eat dinner with you before Ramadan, so he can speak about the virtues of fasting to the children, the virtues of wearing hijab, the virtues of keeping the home clean, the virtues of not swearing, and things like that. You know, so these are some of the things we discussed that we can do to prepare for Ramadan. And today, I'm going to take you to the fourth step. The fourth step that the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam taught us in preparing for Ramadan. And let me put it up here on the screen. Everyone should be able to see my PowerPoint. We're going to speak about the importance of holding family meetings and discussions. You want to start holding weekly meetings now as a means of preparing. You're cleaning the house. You're putting up the Ramadan decorations. You're making the library and the prayer room comfortable for everyone. So now what you want to do is schedule weekly meetings. And today we're going to speak about what those weekly meetings and discussions should detail. You know, you need to talk about who is allowed into the home and who isn't. We're going to speak about how the children, how we should take care as parents and what our children are doing. And also we want to reevaluate the wife working outside the home. And we're going to also speak about family secrets. So these are, this is another step in preparing for Ramadan, to establish family meetings once a week. And let's start with the importance. Why is it important? A lot of people might ask, Sister Layla, why do you say it's important to have family meetings? Well, Allah tells us in the Quran, in the interpretation of the meaning, and those whose conduct, those who conduct their affairs by mutual consultation. You know, you want to sit down with your wife and sit down with the children and try to put a schedule together of how you're going to spend your time this month. The family can sit together in a suitable place to talk about issues within the home that may affect them. Maybe the children, you give the children a chance to share with you what would take them away from wanting to fast. Okay? Or ask the children, what are some things that we can do as your parents, you know, to help encourage you to fast or to get you into the Ramadan spirit. If you're a man, you might want to talk to your wife about things that you expect from her or need from her. You know, by having family meetings, you know, this can help to establish strong ties and interaction within the family. So you want to set aside one day out the week. Like I told you, nobody works 24 hours a day. Not living here in America. You have to have at least 2 days off. That's the federal law. You are guaranteed 2 days off from work. One of those days off from work should be spent with the family and having meetings with them to discuss, you know, your plans. And things that you can talk about is, for example, for those of you Muslims who live in Saudi Arabia, we do have a few Muslims here who are in Saudi Arabia. A good thing to do during Ramadan is to make Umrah, if you're able to. So this is something that the Muslims who live in that part of the world may want to discuss. You know, we can have a meeting to discuss what about going to make Umrah during this month. Or also we can discuss other trips, how we're going to spend the month of Ramadan visiting our relatives. We're going to take one day, you know, to go check on grandma. We're going to go see our aunts and uncles. Just take a day to, you know, visit our relatives. Okay? And also charitable projects that we can do. So again, you know, this is a good idea for us to do as a Muslim family, you know, as a means of preparing, you know, make a schedule together. Sit down with the family and plan out, you know, the first week of Ramadan, you know, maybe we'll go visit our grandparents and spend a little time with them. The second week, maybe we'll go visit your aunts. The third week, we'll go visit your uncles, you know, and try to get charity and take gifts to them, you know, and things like that. And also as a parent, you don't want to ever show conflict in front of your children. And again, it's normal for parents to argue. It's normal. Every time I'm teaching, he calls. It's normal for parents to have disagreements and argue with one another. But don't have disagreements in front of the children, okay? Because if you argue in front of the children, it's going to make the children take sides. And it can also lead to depression. It can lead to anxiety and unhappiness within the family. So if the parents have a disagreement about something, you want to go and discuss it away from the children, not in front of them. And also, one of the things that you want to speak about in your discussions is who is allowed in the home. And I know some of you American women have a problem with this, but I could care less. You better stop being American and learn to think like a believing Muslim. Your husband has the right. I repeat, your husband has the right. I repeat, your husband has the right to tell you who he wants in his house and who he don't want. Maybe you got sons that sell drugs. So your husband might say, I don't want your sons in my house during this month of Ramadan because I don't know. I just don't want them around us because they sell drugs. Maybe you have a relative that's a transgender or a homosexual. He might tell you, I don't want him around either. You know, your husband has the right, you know, to say who is allowed in his home or not. And as a Muslim woman, you have to obey him. To not obey him is a major sin. Remember, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the likeness of a bad companion is like a person who works the bellows. The bellows will burn your house or your clothing, or you will walk away smelling like it. So we have to be careful who we allowed in your home. Your husband knows that. So maybe, I know every woman loves their children, but if you got a son that sells drugs, I'm sorry, or a son that smokes drugs, your husband don't want him around his kids. That's his prerogative. Okay? So again, this is something that you parents might want to discuss away from the children. Have your own meeting and say who's going to be allowed to come into our home this month. Since this is our month of righteousness, we're not allowing any irrighteous people to come visit us because we can't afford to have Shaitan, you know, break the Ramadan spirit. Also, guys, if you expose your family to bad relatives, it can cause a lot of problems. One of the big problems in the Muslim lands is sihr, or magic, witchcraft. A lot of Muslims in the Muslim lands, especially amongst the Arabs, they practice this witchcraft. They always have and still do. That's why they like to do that matchmaking on the club. It's witchcraft. It's haram. People bring witchcraft into your home. Also, things can get stolen from your home. Also, you could be exposing your children to bad morals. So again, we have to be careful who we allow in our homes every day of the week, every day of the year, but most especially during Ramadan. Listen to what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. He one day stood up amongst the companions and he said, "O people, which day is most sacred?" And they said, "The most sacred day is the day of Hajj." Then he said in his Friday khutbah, "Your rights over your women are that they should not allow anyone to sit on your bed whom you dislike, nor should they allow anyone into your home whom you dislike." So there's the evidence. And I don't care how you women feel about it, until you change your heart and make it conform to Allah's laws, you will never be a believer. Okay? That's what Muslim means, one who submits. So you can take that feminism and all that ism and shove it down the garbage can. Your husband has that right. And if he says he don't want your bad relatives over his house, you cannot allow them in. It shouldn't be a problem for you. Just like Habiba, when Abu Sufyan came to visit her, she told him, you can't come in my house, even though you my father. You can't sit on the couch that my husband, the prophet, sits on when you're an enemy to Allah. So we need to start developing that mentality that the companions had. If we had that mentality and that love for Allah like they had, then we know how to look our father, look our son, look a bad relative in the face and say, I'm sorry, you ain't allowed in my house. My husband don't want you in here. And guess what? I don't want you around my kids either, because you a bad influence. And that's just the way it is, whether you sisters like it or not. Okay. And also we got some advice for men that the prophet gave. Yes, it's true. The woman cannot allow anyone into her husband's home whom he doesn't want there. But you men need to spend some time at home too. There's a lot of you men who like to work. I don't know if you like to work because you escape in reality or whatever your issues are. But you men need to try to spend as much time at home as you can. So that way you know what's going on in the household and you can keep things under control and you can supervise what's happening with the children and your wives too. We have a big problem here in our nation today because we have chosen to imitate the Kafirs with this dating and dating apps and love in the afternoon and all this junk. So we've developed their problems, adultery. A lot of Muslims are committing adultery on each other and everything else. If you men would spend more time at home supervising your wives, supervising your children, you wouldn't have these problems. But so many of you men are spending your time at your job. Like I said, you're entitled to 2 days off from work. No one is working you around the clock. You're choosing to live at your job. You need to change yourself and learn to take your behind home and be a man, a M-A-N-N, a man. Y'all understand that? And that's for these brothers, because I got a couple of emails from a couple of the sisters saying how their husbands are never home. They always at work, you know, never wants to come home. And when they do come home, all you do is sleep. You know, you got to wake up, brothers, and know what's happening in your home. Like they say, do you know where your children are? Well, I'm going to take it further. Do you even know what your wives are doing? Because while you men are working at the job, spending all your time there, your wives are falling in love on the internet with men who are not mahrams to them. They sitting up in the club and social media all day and all night talking to a bunch of men that are not related to them, and they ain't talking about nothing except dating and matchmaking. So you brothers better get your behinds home. Stop spending all that time at the job. And in regards to the children, it's the responsibility of both parents to know who their children's friends are. While you men are working and you women are living on social media, do you know what your kids are doing? Who are your children's friends? Have you met them before? Do you know what your children are bringing inside the house while you sitting up on social media? Do you know where your daughter goes and who your daughter's hanging out with? Because a lot of these Muslim little kids, these teenage girls, are climbing out the windows at night, taking off their hijabs, combing out their hair, putting on halter tops, and having relationships with Kafir boys while you in the clubhouse pretending to be a shaker. And while brother man is at work, working because he don't want to go home because he don't want to deal with you or the kids. See how we have inherited the problems of the Kafir because we want to look like them. So you brothers have shaved your beards. You look like little Caucasian men. You women have dropped the hijab, dyed your hair blonde, got your blue contact lenses in, and you're sitting on the club talking and pretending to be 10 years old when you really 60, talking in those baby doll voices to a bunch of men who you wish you could be married to because your husband's a loser. While y'all living that lifestyle, your children are hanging out with kafirs and have become like them. Shame on us as a nation. We got to get this together, guys. We supposed to know what's going on with our kids. And understand that Allah tells us that those of us who neglect our children will be held accountable. Listen to what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. He said, Allah will ask every responsible person about those for whom he or she was responsible. Allah is going to ask if you took care of them or neglected them. So you women that's living on the club and you men that's living on the job, y'all need to wake up, smell the coffee, throw away that social media, learn how to clock out from that job and go home and learn how to live together in respect and dignity like you're supposed to. And look at your children. Put the emphasis on your children. Subhanallah. And when we do put emphasis on the children, there are certain things that we have to beware of as parents. Number one, you don't want the children to fear you. You don't want them to fear you. And you don't want to be their friend either. You want to be a parent. You don't want to make the children feel as if they can't be trusted. And if you're going to punish the children, any punishment should be measured against their age and their level of understanding. And don't go around spying on your children. Don't go around searching through their drawers and all of them and all of that, because all of this is going to turn the kids away from you. Instead, what we need to do is bring back Islam into the home, because that's why they have adopted the ways of the kafir, because you were so caught up in your own insecurities and depressions that you neglected them. So now you got to bring Islam back into the home for them and for yourself. The children need to learn Quran. The children need to learn the stories of the prophets. They need to learn the stories of the companions, the stories of the prophets' wives. They need to learn the Aqidah, basic Aqidah. They need to learn what La ilaha illallah means, why we are Muslims, why our way of life is the only way that's accepted. They should learn the story of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the stories of the other prophets. So again, instead of terrorizing the children, let's say we're going to have a fresh start as a family. We're going to bring back Islam and the Sunnah in this home. And we're all going to sit down together and learn this religion together. For example, you guys here, we're going to turn in our computers. We're going to get rid of the clubhouse. We're going to get rid of social media, Facebook, Instagram for a month. And instead, we're going to log into Sunnahfollowers. We're going to fill our home with remembrance of Allah. We're going to listen to Sister Layla and join her Aqidah classes, because Sister Layla teaches the basics of Islam. We're going to also join her Hadith classes so we can learn the Sunnah and learn about the companions. We're going to also join Dr. Saeed's class so we can learn, manners and good Hadiths that can help make us better. We're going to participate in Dr. Asim's classes to learn how to read the Quran the correct way and the meaning of what Allah is saying. We're going to, on Sundays, that's the kids' day. We're going to let you kids join Sunnahfollowers, and you can learn Quran and the Seerah, and Hadith from Sister Summer and Sister Isra. You know, put a plan in effect at this family meeting. Let the kids know this is a fresh new beginning. Dad is going to spend more time at home. Dad is going to spend less time at work. And Umi's going to spend more time talking to you instead of talking to losers on Clubhouse. Okay? And we're going to start praying together as a family. We're going to start doing the things that Muslim families do. We're going to eat together. So these are the type of things that you should be discussing in your family meetings with the kids, you know, and all of that. And again, I want everyone to understand, as parents, you need to know what's happening with the children. And as the head of the household, you Muslim men need to know what's going on with your wives. Don't let your wives sit up on social media in chat rooms with a bunch of men wasting time talking about nothing. And don't let your children go out and hang out with just anybody. Make sure that your children's play is both entertaining and purposeful. And make sure that your wife's time spent on social media is purposeful. You want to separate the boys and girls. You want to take time to teach your girls things that relate to them and teach boys things that relate to them being a man. So these are things that, you know, we need to work on as parents. And again, our family system has become so deteriorated because we've imitated the Kafir, you know, we've adapted the Kafir's way of living, their lifestyle, their ideology, you know, and so this is why we have their problems. We got to go back to the Sunnah. We got to bring back the Sunnah, bring back Islam. This is very important, and Ramadan is the best way to do that. And also when you have your family meeting, you want to emphasize a schedule with the children and yourselves for bedtime and meals. Like I said, we're going to say from now on, we're going to eat together. Dinner will be served every day at 6 p.m. I find that so cute with Dr. Assam, you know, like whenever I talk with Dr. Assam about doing a class, I'll say, well, you know, 5 o'clock is available. Oh no, Sister Layla, that's dinner time. I say, oh, he goes, dinner time. His wife has that set up in the home. She has it set up. Dinner time is every day at 5. Dr. Asim's not allowed on no social media or anything else. He has to leave his laboratory from whatever he's doing because he's a scientist, and he has to come and sit with the family and have dinner every day at 5 p.m. And this is good. We have to have a dinner time. So no matter where you are, what you're doing, you drop it, come home, and we sit down as a family and we eat. So this is a good time to arrange a dinner time. You already know that when Ramadan starts, the dinner time is going to be whenever the breaking of the fast is. You want to also sit down and figure out a schedule for you and the children to sleep too. You heads of household, let your wives know it ain't going to be no more staying up all night long in the clubhouse, pretending to be shakers. No, you going to bed, sister. After Tarawih, I come home, we spend a little time together, and then we going to bed. Okay, it ain't going to be no all night long in the club. And you brothers, it ain't going to be no staying at the work all night long. You go to the mosque, do your Tarawih, and you come home, and we go to bed at a certain time. Make a bedtime for both of you. This will help to strengthen the family ties, and also it'll help you to get your energy together so you can spend your day fasting. And this is also a good time for you brothers to reevaluate having your wives work. You know, a lot of the women here work. We have a few that stay at home who are stay-at-home moms. but most of the women on my Zoom room and website have to work. Well, this is a time to reevaluate. Does she really have to? I mean, one thing I can say about my website, most everyone here is educated. Like I was explaining to someone, most Americans have degrees. America is a very, very, very expensive country to live. If you want to make the big bucks, you got to go to college and get a degree. So alhamdulillah, most of us have 1, 2, 3, or 4 college degrees. So we can earn that $80, $90, $100,000 that we need to, live a good life. But for you men, you need to evaluate, do you really need your wife's income? Especially if you're earning enough. If you brothers are earning enough, you earning 80, 90,000 or more, do you really need her to work? Because if both of the parents are working, who's paying the price? The children. No one's at home to teach them the deen. We have to understand that in Islam, it's best for women to be in their houses. Allah says to women, stay in your homes. Allah has also decreed that the men are supposed to take care of them. So the basic principle is that women should not work outside the home unless there is a need to. So this is a good time for you brothers who are professional, who do make the money, and you have children, and you see that your children are turning more towards the Kafir way of life, that maybe you should evaluate if maybe we need to make some changes. Sweetheart, maybe you need to just stay at home. You don't have to work anymore. I can handle it. Or if you are going to work, can you work from home? Because some of us can work from home, especially with the COVID. So this is something that you and your wife might want to discuss before Ramadan, because there are many side effects of women working outside the home. Number one, she becomes westernized. And I see a lot of westernized women. One of the things that behooves me is I'm Arab American and I was born in America. I've been Muslim all my life, practicing, giving the dawah. And one of the things that shocks me is how a lot of Arabic women come here from overseas and they become westernized. They stop wearing hijab. They become what they call, feminists? This is totally against Islam, feminism and all these isms. They become westernized. That's why a lot of them want to come here, so they can get that way too. So you brothers need to understand, we women, weren't created to be outside the home. We can't deal with the fitna of the world like a man can. That's why Allah has given the man the upper hand over us. So you need to evaluate this, is whether or not it's worth your wife working. Also, mixing with men could lead to what we have. A lot of you guys will be surprised at the emails and phone calls I get about women messing around, having affairs, especially on social media with men who are not, their husbands. Also, working outside the home. She's not giving her husband or her children their rights. She's neglecting the home and her responsibilities there. Plus, when she does get home, she's too tired. She's too tired to do her duties. These are things that happen to a lot of women. Now, not all of them. Some women can handle working. I worked outside the home for 36 years. I just retired. I was able to handle. Okay, but there are a lot of weaker women that can't. So reevaluate. Do you really need your wife to work? Are you earning enough income where you don't need hers? Or if you do, can she possibly work from home? Because that's an option now, especially since the COVID. So that way she can put more time in with the children and herself. And also when you have your family meetings, You want to also emphasize to your wives and your children that what goes on in the home, it stays in the home. We don't go around disclosing our intimate business to others. You don't go around posting up what your husband did for you on social media. This is a big thing I can't stand to see. A lot of women put on social media, look what my husband did. Look what my husband did. Don't nobody need to see that. Whatever happens in your home between you and your family should stay in your family, not out on social media. We have a hadith whereas once the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam asked the people, are there any amongst you that talk about intimate matters? And then a young girl stood up and she said, "O Prophet of Allah, indeed the men talk and so do the women." The Prophet said, "Do you know what that is like? It's like a female devil meeting a male devil in the street and having intercourse with him while the people watch." So family secrets need to stay within the family. Not on the club, not on Facebook, not on Instagram. It ain't nobody's business what you and your husband are doing. So you need to stop that. And as we talked about in another class, even when it comes to our marital disputes, if you're having a problem with your husband or a problem with your wife, go into the clubhouse. They got these groups. I saw one yesterday. They put it in Arabic, but I can read it. Some Arabic group, come join us and talk about your marital problems and we can counsel you. First of all, who the hell are you? And I mean it just like I said it. Who the hell are you that you think you can counsel Muslims on their personal marital problems when Allah has given us the way to handle problems? Allah did not say go to Clubhouse, join an Arabic group with a bunch of low-life women who ain't even got no husbands and a bunch of nasty men who probably looking for number 2, 3, and 4, and ask people to sit up here and disclose your marital problems and we can help. That's the way the kafir do. And this is the problem. We adapt the kafir way. In Islam, no stranger can counsel me on anything. Allah says if a husband and a wife have a problem in their marriage, the procedure is you get a person from his family, blood relative, because blood is thicker than trash. You don't know me, Mr. Club, but my father do. You don't care about me, Mrs. Club, but my mother do. So you get a person from your family and he gets a person from his family. This is the unconditional love and care that only blood holds, not trash on the club. And then Allah says we sit down together with our family member, family representative, and we tell them what the problem is. And together we work it out. That's the Islamic way. So any of you Muslims listening to me that's on Clubhouse, joining these Muslim Arabic run groups that has a bunch of women and men sitting up calling themselves being counselors to you, number one, they have taken on the ways of the kafir. That is not Islam. Number two, you don't talk about your business to people who ain't in a position to help you, because that's backbiting your husband or backbiting your wife, number two. Number three, learn the Sunnah. If we did things the way Allah said, then we wouldn't have the high divorce rate. Listen to what Allah says. And here's the evidence. and the interpretation of the meaning. He says, whenever there are marital conflicts, you appoint two arbitrators, one from his family, the other from hers, if they both wish for peace. And if you do this, Allah will cause you to reconciliate. So that's why all you Muslims that are living on the clubhouse in those Arabic rooms run by a bunch of Arabic witches, because that's what they are, they're witches. And Arabic witch, how do you call the men? Male witches. Disclosing your business. This is why your marriages are disasters. That's why you ended up divorced. If you had done things the way Allah said, like Allah says, if you do it this way, I will bring reconciliation to you. Allah is not going to bring reconciliation to any Muslim couple if they have taken on the ways of the kuffar and have deviated away from the Quran and Sunnah. Hello, real Daya on the block, Layla Nashiba. Okay? So you sisters and brothers who have unhappy marriages, y'all need to stop club hopping. Y'all need to stop masjid hopping with so-called counselors and instead handle your problems the way the Prophet said, with that unconditional loving relative from your side and her side. They know y'all better than anyone else. And they want, your family wants your marriage to work. And then you sit down with them and try to work it out. And Allah is telling you in this verse of the Quran, if you do that, He will bring about the reconciliation. I have 4 brothers. They're all happily married. Never been divorced. But that don't mean they didn't have problems. When they did have problems, they would do this. They would bring someone from her family, and they would bring someone, usually me, or my mother, from our family, and we'd sit down and talk about it and resolve it. And their marriages are going strong. They're all happily been married for 20 years or more and got kids and everything else. But see, we believe in the Sunnah. We live the Quran and Sunnah in my family. I don't know about the rest of y'all. I think some of you, especially from these Arabic countries, I think you guys have forgotten the Sunnah. Y'all need to find your religion. Those of you living in the Muslim lands, y'all need to find your religion. You've lost it. Find it and make it sacred again. And stop trying to be like Americans. Stop trying to be like Europeans. They have no morals. They have no scruples. That's why they have no marriages. That's why they have children out of wedlock. That's why marriage is even frowned upon by them. Subhanallah. Subhanallah, the Muslims today. Okay, also, again, we have to understand when you go around telling your marital problems to people who shouldn't be listening to it, this causes harm. Remember what happened with the wife of Noah. She used to know about his secrets, and whenever anyone believed in him, she would go and tell the oppressors among the people about him. And also the wife of Lot did the same thing. So that's what you people are doing, running out to the clubhouse, confiding your personal business to a bunch of losers who are not blood relatives to you, and you got Muslim family. That's what's so bad. You guys were born Muslim. You're Arabs. You have Muslim relatives. What are you doing on a clubhouse with a bunch of witches? Shame on you people. We don't do that in America. American Muslims don't do that. I give them credit. They will get there, bring their people from their families and sit down and try to work it out. I don't see no Americans in those clubhouse rooms, no American Muslims in those clubhouse rooms trying to get no help in a marriage. They already know what to do. It's you Arabs that's doing this dumb stuff. And you guys have Muslim families. Turn back to the Sunnah, and maybe Allah will bless you. Subhanallah. So again, this is the fourth step in establishing the Muslim home. The fourth step in establishing the Muslim home is for Ramadan is I want you guys to plan a family meeting. You can make it for Saturday. Or this Saturday at 2:00, we're going to have a family meeting. You, your husband, the children, we're going to all sit down and talk about how we're going to change the condition of ourselves, how we're going to become a better family this Ramadan, how dad is going to spend more time at home with us, less time working, how mom's going to put aside that social media and instead get more into what's going on with us as a family. We're going to listen to Islamic classes. We're going to be live participating with Sister Layla during the month of Ramadan. Layla's got classes going on all day, every day. We're going to join Layla Nashiba's classes as a family. We're going to take her quizzes. We're going to ask her questions. We're going to participate. We're going to fill the home with Islamic knowledge and create an atmosphere of Islam. And as far as you and your wife, you have a private talk, we're going to have to try to get better, baby. I know I've been neglecting you all year. And I know you've been on that social platform. I don't want to hear no confessions. I don't want to know what I don't know ain't going to hurt me. But let's just make a fresh start. You getting rid of social media, and I'm bringing my behind home from work every night. And we gonna sit together and try to bring back those feelings we had when we first met. This is the time. This is the Ramadan. Ramadan is the month of change. It's the month of new beginnings. Let's work on doing this. Hold and schedule and hold your family meeting this weekend. I'm telling you guys, it'll work. All right. So I'm going to stop right here. If you guys have any questions or comments, inshallah, you can go ahead and type them on the screen. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.